The only reason I met Carlos was that I was friends with his sister, Tanya. Otherwise, it would have never occurred to me to even speak to him. I knew he had a long list of part-time jobs he never managed to keep. Let's just say he had a very long resume. And he also had a pet bird. It was a cobalt blue parakeet he had managed to trap a few months back. Apparently, the bird had landed near the kitchen window of the trailer he and Tanya shared. Their mother, who had been dead for a couple of years, she also used to have a parakeet, so amongst his many trinkets, he had an old cage. He grabbed the bird, took her inside, and placed her in her new home. I suppose this is the point in the story where I tell you that he instantly loved the bird and the bird loved him back. But it wasn't like that. Not at all. He would wake up, feed the bird, make sure she had water, and then carry on with his everyday activities. He wouldn't sing to her nor acknowledge her in any other way. I suppose you could say he was a responsible pet owner. I mean, the bird didn't starve and all that crap, but I honestly think his TV got more love than the bird ever managed to smell. Whenever I drove to the trailer park to visit Tanya, I will look at the bird on the kitchen table. They never ate there. Each of them will prefer to go to their room, so that was cool, I guess. And for the first couple of weeks, she will still sing, but that didn't last long. I will look at her and I ask Tanya, what did Carlos want the bird for since he didn't even look at her? And Tanya said she didn't know, but that since their mother used to have one, Carlos thought they should also have one. I told her we could let her go, but she said that will be a shit show and how she will never hear the end of it, and instead asked me to help her find a new apartment. She had decided it was time to fly away, and she was looking for the ugliest, crappiest, cheapest one-bedroom apartment she could afford. And we did find lots of those and spent a couple of weeks visiting them until she found one to her liking. Carlos was not happy about this at all. Now he will have to come up with a whole of the money for the rent and all that crap adults are supposed to afford. And I have to give it to Tanya. She was very good at looking right through his guilt-inducing speeches. She will say there was no way she could keep living there, the place where her mother died. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention that? Tanya's mother had died right there at their kitchen table during breakfast. It was one of those fulminating heart attacks. One moment, she was lighting up a cigarette. The next, she was dead. The cigarette is still between her fingers. I shall add that since they rarely talk while eating, it took them some time to realize she was, shall we say, too quiet. So yeah, I could see why Tanya wanted out of there. What I couldn't understand was why Carlos insisted on staying on the trailer. It was an awful place to live. There were leaks on the roof, and whenever it rained, the inside looked like the Niagara Falls. And it was also in the middle of those horrible wind currents. And I don't know, I suppose he didn't care. In the end, it was the only home he had ever known. Still, The day came when Tanya finally left. She put it off as much as she could, I guess out of sisterly guilt. But on that final day, she realized the wait had been pointless. I had gone there to help her with some boxes, and I saw how she took one last look at Carlos and said, "I'm leaving now." She wanted a brother sister Kodak moment with hugs and the whole shebang. But he didn't even turn to look at her. He was suddenly very interested in cleaning his bird's cage. Tanya looked at me and said, "Let's just go." And I happily obliged. So we put all of her stuff in the trunk of my car and I drove her to her new place. On the way there, I tried to make her laugh by telling her some silly stories about the time I had braces and I was dating a guy who also had braces and how it was super dangerous when we kissed. And she was not interested. Once we got there, we unloaded her stuff and put everything up there, and that improved her mood a bit. I even got her to agree to go to the movies the next day. Then I drove back home and I was thinking that I would get her a cake or something to cheer her up. And that I will stop by the trailer park to tell Carlos what a huge asshole he was. I forgot all about it when I noticed the fire. It was what they call a roaring inferno, a sea of flames happily sweeping away everything in its path. I could tell these were the trailer park's final moments. I pull over amongst the survivors, spectators, firefighters, and police officers. It wasn't clear how it all had begun. People were saying it had been terrifyingly fast and that there were still people trapped inside. When I heard that, I started looking for Carlos' stupid face. And as I kept going into the crowd and I kept coming back empty-handed, I started thinking I should call Tanya and prepare her for the worst. And then I heard a very peculiar sound. I turn around and I look up at a tree, and there, perched on one of the branches, was Carlos' parakeet. Well, either it was her or her cobalt blue twin was staring right at me. She stood there for a few moments, still singing her song. And then, I suppose, realizing she could, flew away. My eyes followed her for the longest time, until the smoke became too thick and the firefighters warned us to back off. I tried to find her again in the vastness of the sky, but it was pointless. She was gone.